Hey Temple, I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about my trip to Morocco before I show you a video that I took in Morocco. Morocco is south of Spain, right across the Mediterranean, and so it's really close. The school actually has a trip to Morocco where you get to go around and see a lot of the culture and what it's all about. I tried to get on it, but I got put on the waiting list because I was really late to sign up. So if you actually sign up on time, then you should be fine when you hear about it. But I went to Morocco and it's an awesome experience, especially after almost a whole semester now of traveling around. Morocco is completely different, and because I was there in the beginning of December, it was warm, so that was really nice. It's just a completely different culture than I've ever experienced. It was awesome to see everything and how different they lived. I've never been to an Islamic country. I've never been to Africa. Now I can say I have. I've never ridden a camel, which I also can say I have done now. The people are so nice. I was told beforehand I was a little bit nervous, like I didn't know how to, that as a woman I might have problems, or that it's a really poor country and to watch out and things like that. I didn't have any problems. They were completely respectful. All I did was I made sure I dressed, but my shoulders were covered, and I wore pants, but I mean it was 70 degrees. So yes, it was warm, but it wasn't like I was going to be dying in jeans and a t-shirt. But it was just an amazing, I was blown away. The food is awesome, like incredibly awesome. The people are awesome. It's a poorer country. It's the first time I've seen a poorer country, but it's not dangerous. We went around, we were fine. You learn to barter with people, which is so much fun. Like, at first, like, I was really timid because I was like, oh, and like you go to get a taxi somewhere and they'll be like, okay, 100 dirhams. And you're like, okay, like we're in Spain at least, like 10 euros for a taxi somewhere isn't that bad. You can, depending on how far you are from something, they have a meter, but in Morocco it's more of bartering for it. You say 100 dirhams and you're like, well, that doesn't sound that bad. About 10 dirhams is equal to 1 euro, by the way, sorry. But so the first time we got ripped off and we get paid like 60 dirhams to go somewhere, that was probably like 20 or 30 dirhams, which is 2 or 3 euros. But as time went on, we learned that we had to barter, and we learned about what we had to do, and somebody would say, okay, well, we'll take you there for 60, and we would say 20 dirhams, and then you kind of barter back and forth, and you probably end up going there for about 35 dirhams, which isn't that bad. We took a tour that went all through Marrakesh. We saw sultans' tombs, we saw palaces, we saw the mosque from the outside. The mosque in Marrakesh you can't actually go into. There is one in Casablanca and another mosque in another city in Morocco that you are allowed to enter and tour. But the one in Marrakesh you're not allowed to, but I mean the outside and the gardens are impressive enough. I rode a camel, which is nothing like riding a horse, but it was so much fun. We were wondering because it was probably the equivalent of about 12 or 13 euros, and as the end of the semester and as students that we were kind of like, oh, that's kind of a lot, but it was worth it. We were so happy that we did it. It was completely different. Like, he took us around, like, camels are like the calmest animals ever, and I personally think they're kind of pretty. But the hostel that we stayed at was right in the Medina, which is the old part of the city. It's all, compared to the US, everything's old. But it's the really old part of the city, and the streets are literally labyrinths. You get lost in them. It's so much fun, and all you have to do is pay. If you get really lost, there'll be little kids around that for 2 cents, they'll be happy to show you the way out, because they'll be like, I have 2 cents, I can go to get a piece of candy. They're so nice, they don't hassle you. Nobody I was with or anybody I spoke to had any problems with some of the things that you hear about, like being out at night or like getting robbed or anything like that. Like, the people were so nice. Like, obviously they would barter with you to try and get the highest price, but there were zero problems. And we were in the Medina, right in the labyrinths, and right by all of the markets. We went on a tour that showed us told us the history about how the women make the carpets, showed us where the people make everything. They make everything by hand. Like, I literally walked through the area of the market where they are there over a fire making them, or making like leather purses. Like, I can show you. I got this leather purse which is handmade. And I saw a Korean teaching school where they originally it was for young boys to teach about the Korean, but now it's more for older students and things like that. But the mosaics, the tiles, everything, the history, it's an awesome country. It's way different than what you're used to, especially after seeing Europe. Like, everything's different and definitely awesome, but to go to Morocco where everything is such a huge contrast, I'm really glad that I did it. I'm really glad that I did it at the end of my trip because it was just something that was completely different. I'm going to leave blown away and have such a respect for their culture, their religion, what they're doing. It's an awesome country, and it's so close to Spain. Flight tickets, depending on the weekend you go, like holiday weekends, it's going to be more expensive, but it'll probably be about 40 euros round trip, which is really good, and I definitely recommend going to it. But our hostel that we stayed at was called Equity Point Hostel, and they had a whole buffet meal done, and then they had traditional Moroccan people come up and perform music and singing for us in traditional like clothing, and it was only about 6 euros, so it was awesome. But that's what I'm going to show you now is one of those. I actually took 2 clips of that because the first one is just them and the second one is when they let us join in a little bit. But I loved it, and if you're here, definitely go there. It'll be different from anything you've seen and so much fun. But bye Temple, I'll talk to you. I got it.